morning, everyone. Really? That's not how I start this. That's how I start the live.
It is. I usually don't interrupt with a good morning in there, too. I don't know what happened. Cheers!
Clink!
I don't know if this is going to make it in or if it'll be a blooper reel, but it's a real good start.
Oh, I almost have forgotten how to start this. But hello and welcome to the Modern Skein podcast. This is episode 90, actually, I think. It's kind of a milestone one. So thank you for tuning in and watching this podcast. If it's your first time, welcome, and we hope you stick around. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. And thanks for putting up with all of our shenanigans, because clearly we have some.
Yep.
I'm going to take a sip of this coffee.
And I'm going to not drink the yarn out of the coffee mug.
Yes, we'll chat about why there's yarn in a coffee mug in a minute. But first, I'm getting back to real coffee. Because clearly I need some. I actually haven't had that much this morning. That's only my second cup. No, I guess it's my third. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. So, welcome, and we're going to get started here. And we usually go with finished objects. I do not have a finished object. However, do I? Actually, you know, I do, but I don't have it because I completely didn't think, and I hung up my Shawlography. This is where we say, Josh, insert a photo of my Shawlography here.
Right there. Wow.
Hopefully that got inserted.
If not, check out these books.
Awkward stall. Okay, so I did finish my Shawlography. I added fringe. If you did not just see that insert, check out the Instagram, and I believe it also went to Facebook, the little video I did in slow motion with the twirling of the Shawlography. And I will post some better finished object photos soon, or come into the shop. It's hanging over the cash register.
Yes.
Yes, because it's that big. I didn't think it was going to be that big until I steamed it.
Yeah, this was a surprising one that I feel like it was so compact in the way it was constructed until the very end.
And then, bam.
And you're like, oh yes, Stephen West shawl. Yes. Okay, good.
Yes. And there were people who actually added sections because they didn't feel it was big enough.
Yeah.
I did not add any sections. I added tassel, but that's beside the point. But you have a glorious finished object that you can share.
I do. I finished my halibut sweater.
Yay. Tell us all about it.
So yeah, this is the halibut sweater by Boylan Knitworks, or Caitlyn Hunter, that was just released this past week. Yeah, I want to say like last Thursday.
I think so.
It's done up in Scout, and I used mulberry heather and oatmeal heather as my two colors, and it's fishy and fabulous, and I love it.
Fishy and fabulous.
Yes.
It's super cute.
Kind of like a really long, really nice deep yoke, so it kind of has a little bit of a swan showy, cozy vibe to it. I knit it with about 12 inches of ease. I think she recommends 8 to 10, but I think just the way the sizes fell, it was either I was going to be like just under the ease recommendation or like 2 inches above, and I was like, you know what? It's cozy sweater season. Let's go for the bigger size. Well, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, with a bigger size, you can always put you know, a shirt underneath it, a tunic underneath it, whatever. Or, I mean, honestly, that would even look cute. You have enough of the ease to like knot it up or tuck it up into like a high-waisted skirt or pant or something like that. Because, I mean, it looks cropped, but it really isn't cropped when she wears it.
No. It's like, I think, like it hits right at the top of like my hip bones. Like, I mean, it is like, I guess, it looks cropped, but it's really...
She can still stuck
right at the top of my jeans.
Yeah. You can tuck it, not stuck it. You can tuck it in jeans.
You can just stuck the sweater.
Yes.
But yeah, it's delightful. It's my first time working with the Scout, actually. So it was super soft and cozy, and the stitch definition for color work is wonderful.
You can just see how crisp all of that is, and that really is a testament to the yarn.
Yeah.
It just pops. Even if it's lower contrast in Scout, it still pops.
Yeah.
So
I just want to wear fish all the time.
So what size did you knit?
I knit the 50-inch bust size.
Which I think is the 4, I think.
Yes.
Is that the 4? Okay. Any other modifications?
So the only other modifications that I made, I shortened the sleeves substantially. I want to say I did 14 repeats of the decreases. And I want to say there might have been an intended 20.
Oh, wow.
I might be wrong on that number. But it was enough that I was like, nope, we're stopping here. And then the body was intended to be 8 inches of just stockinette. But knowing that my row gauge was a little bit off. So by the time I was done with the yoke is supposed to be 11 inches. My yoke was 12. So I kind of adjusted a little bit by doing 6 inches of stockinette in the body. And then about 2.5 inches instead of the 3 inches of ribbing that she had in the pattern. So really I just adjusted for length, knowing my row gauge struggles.
But you still ended up with basically the finished pattern length.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So that's that.
It's super nice. And we are fully stocked on all of our, I say fully stocked, I'm seeing holes now. I'm gone for one day and there's holes. We're almost fully stocked in Kelborn Scout. It looks like we may be short on the mulberry heather, unless you're gonna knit maybe like the
first size or 2.
First 1 or 2 sizes. There'd be enough, but probably not for above a size 3. We're limited in the scarlet. You probably would not have enough to do more than a size 4.
Yeah.
I am out of the strawberry heather. I know that right off the bat. We're limited in the moss heather now. And we have plenty of oatmeal to do contrast, but not really enough to do a full sweater. But I will see if those can be restocked. And yeah, we have plenty of other colors. We have the we've got tons of sunflower and coral heather. Yeah, I think sunflower heather and navy are like an unsung combination. I love the coral heather with any of the neutrals, like do the coral as like main body and then do like chocolate brown or something like that for kind of a reverse, or you can flip it and do like chocolate and then do coral.
There was one tester that did, I believe they used the juniper heather, which is that beautiful like kind of deep jungle green, and they did it with like a pink contrast. And it's really pretty, and I feel like the coral with as the contrast on that juniper heather would be stunning.
You could also do the orchid heather if you wanted kind of more that pink, because the orchid is like it's a purple, but it's a very pink purple, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I still think someone should do stone and teal. The stone heather and the teal heather, that would be really pretty. But like I said, there's tons and tons of options. And if for whatever reason you did not want to use Scout is 100% wool. If you wanted to use something a little bit softer and finer, not that this is scratchy by any stretch of the means. at all. But you could use Double Sunday, which is like an ultra soft merino, which we have, I would say almost all the colors are fully stocked for quantities for this. You could also use Estate DK or Croft DK. Either one of those would still get you great stitch definition.
The Mad Tosh, there's a couple of those really bright, vivid colors that would be gorgeous.
The Farm Twist would be stunning. And honestly, if you wanted to do kind of a, you know, it would be really cool, especially if you're like beachy, like if you're in a beach environment, whether you're in Galveston, you're in Florida, you're in West Coast, you're in Hawaii, wherever you might be that's in a coastal environment, do the Mad Tosh wool plus cotton. That would be super fun. Like do Arctic and then pop it with like that neutral, what is it, Filtered Daydreams or the glazed pecan for your contrast. That'd be beautiful. Kind of make it cropped and like short sleeve. It would be such a fun toss over to go walk on the beach during the winter, you know, when it's cool. And I just came back from Galveston, so yeah, I have all the that wander the beach and the cool vibes kind of.
Yeah. I mean, even on that note, Dapple would be real cool.
Dapple
would
be
give you a little
really
extra
good.
Texture.
Yes. And you know what? If you're in a very cold climate, because not everyone lives in Texas. So if you are somewhere that gets quite a bit colder, Arbor by Brooklyn Tweed would be a great choice. You're going to get supreme stitch definition again, and it's a non-superwash. Yeah. Or you could slightly adjust and tweak for your needle and row gauge and go up and do worsted and do shelter. That would be super woolly and warm. That would be really cool. We have tons of pretty colors in shelter too. I mean, Faded Quilt is always a stunner. Yeah. Haystack, I think it's Haystack, which is that golden color, and that green. What the
I love the, I keep looking at the colorway Wool Socks.
Oh, yes.
It's like that beautiful, rusty, deep, rich red.
Isn't Wool Socks the color that Andrea used in her original...
Nope. No, not Daydream. Nurture? No.
Nope. Honeycombs. Wool and Honey.
Wool and Honey, except that was Loft.
That was, yes, it was a different base, but that was the color. So if you like that color,
it's so good.
So good.
I keep seeing that Wool and Honey sweater pop up on Instagram, and I'm like, do I need it? No. Do I want it?
Yes. I have wanted that sweater, I think maybe since I opened the shop. I can't remember when she came out with it exactly. It was either right before or right after I opened the shop. And that's one that is like, I'm still waiting for what I deem to be the perfect color. The original color is perfect. So now that we carry Brooklyn Tweed, you know, later next year, we're going to be bringing in all of the fingering weights. So might be happening. Never know. Okay. Since I don't have any other finished objects, we figured we'd highlight a couple finished objects that were been recently brought into the shop that we are getting to show off. So these are finished objects completed by you guys, especially if you watch. Some of you guys do, some of you guys don't. So first off, I wanted to show this knit by Sweet Diane. This. So if you've ever come in on Tuesdays, and usually in the morning time, Saturday mornings, or sometimes early on Thursday nights, you've seen Diane sitting here in the corner and just constantly working on awesome projects. Yep. She also is our resident horror film fanatic and guru and knower of all of those things, which I don't know.
Affectionately known as the Goth Granny.
Yes. And
self-proclaimed.
Self-proclaimed, and we absolutely adore her for that. But she finished the Vacation Butterfly shawl. Look at this stunner. Like, it doesn't even fit. It's so gorgeous. So this is a pattern available on Ravelry. I forget that. It's the same designer that did Papillon, or the butterfly shawl, which you'll see that kind of short row thing, but it's a little bit different. So you have the start of it, and then you have this plain section, and then you have this border And then there's an optional, like, almost like another short row border, but she just, Diane kept it real plain with an I-cord. We love it. So this is with the unique fingering, and then the monochrome fingering. The monochrome fingering is the red. You can see the subtle variegations. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. And then the beautiful, she used the Harmony, which is the rainbow, and it's just so gorgeous. This red with the rainbow is just stunning. And the color pooling is amazing. Yeah. So thank you so much, Diane, for giving this to the shop to show off. It's gorgeous. So you can come view it on a mannequin here in the store. But yeah, this is a gorgeous one. So if you love short rows, or maybe you're looking for a project to practice short rows on, Vacation Butterfly is a great one, because you have sections of short rows, but then you also break it up with some sections of just plain garter stitch. So when you get a little bored or frustrated, it's okay. So that is the first one. The second one is Pierre by Stephen West. This is the right side. And this was knit to us by Free DeSheilds, known as Butterfly Bespoke, I believe, on Instagram. And this is knit out of Estate DK. I'm trying to like show it and not hide my face. Estate DK in Antique Rose, Path, Welsh Mantle, and a Classic, all by Red Stag Fiber. This is a really easy shawl, no brioche, just twisted rib down here, by Stephen West. I know several of the ladies from Saturday have knit this. It looks great in tonals, faded like so, and it also looks great in a speckled fade. Just kind of all dependent on what you want in your finished look. We had a sample here earlier in the year that was done with speckles, and it was also gorgeous. But this tonal one is just stunning. It really makes it go from like just a fun and quirky little shawl to a really elegant shawl. And it's a nice shape too. It's DK, it's 4 skeins, 4 different colors. Quick knit. Yeah. Constantly changing, so you don't get bored with anything, but it's still fairly a social knit, except maybe on an increase row you need to count, but most of the ladies were knitting it socially here, so yeah. All right, and then lastly, this is a neon one. Yeah. So this is the Rockefeller, also by Stephen West, and this was knit by Connie Cowan. So Connie is another one of our great ladies here at the shop, but she also does some contract knitting as well. So if you are local in the area and you need some contract knitting done, let us know, we can connect you. She does great work, and just look at this stunning shawl. So she knit this out of Undercover Otter. The exact names of the colors I don't quite remember. We had this in our pop-up when Stephen was here back in 2019, and then she knit this up right after, and it's gonna live here for a couple months just to show off. So Rockefeller's a really fun one too, because it's knit kind of side to side. You knit these panels and then you knit different things, and then you kind of meet in the middle and you knit this part. So it's a really unique construction. It's also a good wearable shape because it's that really nice crescent, so it lays over you nicely. Fingering weight, I want to say off the top of my head 2 skeins each color. Could be wrong, maybe 1 and 2, but you can always look up the pattern. Is Rockefeller.
It's just so stunning, especially the color pop on the camera is wild.
I definitely recommend doing 2 high contrasting colors for this. Now your background color could be speckled, as long as your contrast color is a high contrast. Because I have seen this done with, like, where the green is here, done a fairly bright speckle, but then like a contrast color that's nowhere to be found in the speckled yarn, so it really pops, and that looks really good. So those are a little finished object show and tell. You're actually wearing a knitted item. Why don't you tell us about that?
I am. So this one, I'm gonna have to stand up so you can see the bottom of it. Got 2 color stripes down there, and there's some kind of knit purl triangles in there.
Cute. I didn't notice that before.
This is the Red Cliffs top by Abby Knits, who I feel like has come to fame more so as she's half of the duo in Wool and Pine.
Yes.
This was my first ever test knit.
Yay.
Yeah, I love it. I was not expecting how much I would enjoy to wear it because I was working on it and I was getting stressed out because it was a test. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have a deadline. But now I test far too much. And I love this top because it's so easy to just throw on and it's a sport weight. So it's got a little warmth to it, which is nice for, you know, hanging out in the air-conditioned shop some days. But I'm also not gonna overheat either.
It's always nice.
Yeah. And I think I did this out of Malabrigo. Couldn't tell you which base. Maybe Arroyo?
I'm about to say probably Arroyo.
Yeah, I think so.
That's really their only sport base. Cool. So
let's talk whips.
Yes, let's
you
talk
have
whips.
A whole bunch.
I may have cast on 2 things instead of finishing things that I should be doing. But so I'm pretty sure I cast this on since last. Actually, this would be 3 things cast on. Pretty sure I cast this on since we podcasted last. But this is the Driftlines by Shannon Cook. I know I've talked about it on several lives and I did a post about it. This should be finished. I'm just going to say, this should be finished. I'm almost finished with it now. However, because it is a great mindless knit that I kept up here at the shop between working on Stephen West, I knit far too much of the wrong part. I knit too many repeats. So I had to rip that back out, and then I kind of got frustrated that I had to rip all that out, and so then it went, and then the next clue was released, or the last clue was released, so it's like it went in the bottom of the barrel. But I pulled this out yesterday, and I was like, oh, I remember how much fun this is knitting it. So I'm almost done. But this is Driftline. So this is it's going to be a cowl shawl combination. So picture it like here, there'll be a point. So I'm on the border now. You knit it flat and then you get to a certain point and then you join it in the round, which is really fun. You can see you do some really pretty textural slip stitches, and then this border is also a different type of slip stitch. I don't know that you can see it. I'm only like 4 rows into the border. Excuse me. So I want to say I'm probably, I gotta repeat that 4, 8, 16, probably like 32 rows away from the bind off, which sounds like a lot, but it's also being knit on size 8s. Probably don't know if that's what's actually recommended in the pattern. I don't remember if I'm doing the exact. Yes, I am, because I am doing technically an Aran weight, and technically the pattern's written for worsted, but Aran and worsted are pretty much interchangeable 90% of the time. Fun fact, because I can just share this. If you didn't know, worsted technically is how a yarn is spun and not a weight, except in America, where we make our own rules.
Yep.
And decided it should also mean a weight.
Yep.
Technically, it should be sewing thread, lace, fingering sock, same thing, sport, DK, which stands for double knit, which is double the thickness of fingering, and then Aran, and then chunky, super chunky, bulky, yada, yada, yada. But we decide, oh, let's stick worsted in there, which is almost the same, but not quite the same as Aran. But sometimes it's the same.
Yeah.
But in other times it's not.
I think that's the tricky part, is I feel like a lot of the time you could just interchange. Like you look at some of them up close and they're so similar that you can get gauge with an Aran or a worsted on the pattern depending on how you knit. But then there's some of them that you're like, oh, I can't do it with that one.
Because I feel like a lot of American Aran weights are closer to that first level bulky yarn. Like, totally honest, Red Stag Fibers Aran is a heavy Aran. It's a heavy Aran. So it's borderline on chunky. Then you've got Biche and Bouche. I'm using Biche and Bouche La Grosse, which is an Aran weight, which is almost the exact same as like Shelter or Rios in its diameter. So it's closer to a worsted weight and can easily be substituted. So that's a very rabbit trail discussion, but the more you know.
Yep.
So this should be getting finished maybe today at knit night, probably 32 rows. Yeah, I'm thinking so. So then I'll have a finished object. This is the dark red. Yes, dark red color by La Grosse. 2 skeins, I believe, is all that is going to be needed for this project. Yeah, I think technically yardage wise says I might need a 3rd skein, but I'm going to make sure it only takes 2. Yep. So yeah, Driftlines by So Very Shannon or Shannon Cook. And then I'll go ahead and share, okay, I'll share this because this, we all know, this is my Douglas cardigan. Yes, I have 3 needle bind off the sleeve, or the shoulders, and I have knit 1 sleeve. Ta-da! I need to
just like pick it up and I'm like, oh, it's so squishy.
It is so squishy. I need to do this sleeve and then the neckband, and this is done. So this is also probably, if I focus, this can be done by next podcast.
Oh yeah.
Will I focus? That is the question. Because see, next time we podcast, we'll have to film it before Thanksgiving, because it'll be Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
So that means I will have had my family get-together weekend, which means knitting.
Knitting time.
Knitting time. Because this year I'm only in charge of breakfast foods, and I can pre-make all of my breakfast foods, pop it in the oven, and
yeah, you can.
And everyone stays up super late, so I can knit.
Coming soon. Sharon's hit single. Knit, 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 knit.
Wow.
Yep.
I guess I have a little too many endorphins from my workout this morning, or too much coffee, but I haven't had that much coffee, and I don't drink pre-workout now. I've tried to limit myself on caffeine, you know. So anyway, colors in my Douglas cardigan, we've talked about this. This is cast iron, pewter, faded quilt, and
Storm cloud, and I think this is pumice.
Not pewter. Yes, pumice. Storm cloud and pumice. Yes, Douglas is written for 5 colors. Yes, I'm only using 4. I am repeating the border color, which is supposed to be the cuffs, the bottom border, and the neckline as my 5th color in there, because I felt like it tied in, and I saw someone else on Ravelry do it, so I'm shamelessly copying. So that's that. Like I said, hopefully get that that's my goal. Not hopefully, I'm going to set a goal that this is done before the next podcast. I think that's,
I mean, considering I think that first sleeve, I was sitting and knitting and then looked up and dang, you had a sleeve. So it goes so quickly that you'll be able to get it done.
It's definitely quick. Okay, why don't you share? I don't need to hog everything.
Okay, I only have one whip because I've been testing again. I said I wasn't going to, and here I am.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not going to do any more test knits, And then all of a sudden, like, it was a quiet moment in the shop.
Yep.
She
just looked at my phone.
Well, and for a second I thought it was the shop phone and someone was like, hey, I need this yarn. And she's
nope,
buzzing
it was
over.
Me. I needed the yarn.
Pulling all this yarn. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like,
well,
I just signed up for a test knit. I'm like, what?
So this one's not a secret, but I don't, it's one of those weird ones that she was kind of like, hey, don't show off too much. So, boop, boop, boop. It's another sweater. It's a fingering weight sweater. I'm testing this one for Hohi.
Is this like a lacy detail?
So,
or
it's my increases that are,
sorry,
you're good.
Like,
I think they're intended to stand out.
Okay,
but,
okay.
Yeah.
But isn't there a lacy something
There is
on there?
Yeah,
okay.
There's little like
okay.
9-stitch lace panels, which I think I'm gonna need to block this to get those to pop up because they're just really hidden in there.
Yeah.
I struggled with this one. I struggled with this one a good bit, mostly because I did not read thoroughly. Killing it. But I am back on track, and it's gonna be a time crunch, but it's gonna be okay. So I'm
what?
Yes.
Oh,
so,
no.
I was like, I wasn't sure if that was a precursor to getting a little bit of sass.
No, I wasn't.
Okay. I'm using Life in the Long Grass in the weathered colorway. I am alternating skeins because of this.
This is why we do say you should alternate skeins. Because, and okay, I'm going to interject here on alternating skeins because everyone knows I hate to do it. However, when I'm using, if I were going to knit this, I would, let's just say it called for 4 skeins of my yarn, and it's
Which
all the
did.
same. Okay.
You're dead on.
That's kind of standard-ish
Yeah.
for a sweater. I would wind 2 or 3 of them. I wouldn't necessarily wind all 4, but I would wind 2 or 3 of them. Compare them, because they can all look the same in the skein, especially when you're dealing with speckled yarns like this. Yeah. Wind them up into cakes, and then if they have visible differences that I'm not willing to deal with and live with, then I will alternate skeins. If I wind them all up and all in the cakes, they all pretty much look exactly the same, and you don't see that this is a light one, this is a dark one like you see here, then I'm just gonna go for it and just live with whatever slight color blocking there is. That's me, that's my personal preference. I don't get hung up on color pooling, color blocking, anything like that. Unless it's I've got one white looking skein and the rest are dark. That's when I will do one of 2 things, either alternate, or what I will do, especially if there's only one that sticks out, is I will save that for sleeves or for cast on hems, cuffs, where I can control where that color goes. That's my personal, I wouldn't even say recommendation, that's what I do personally. Some people that would still, they want to do full on alternating helical knitting, the whole shebang, and that's great.
Yeah.
More power to you. That's just not me.
Yeah. And I did not, because I struggled with this one for a good bit, I did not start alternating until I was maybe like 6 or 7 inches into it, and then I was alternating.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully there's a lot of speckling in here, so it's pretty forgiving that it's blending well together. But
and that's another thing too. If you are alternating, you don't want to start and stop skeins at the same time. You just defeated the whole purpose of alternating. You want to break it up, knit, say you're ribbing in one color, maybe do your short rows if it's a top down, or knit the first inch and then start alternating, or knit a row or 2 and then start alternating, and switch out one of your balls before, like this, you can see one is fuller than the other. So when this one runs out, she could switch out. Yeah. But if they were about the same size, just drop one and pick up another one so that you don't have that abrupt stopping of the skeins, which is what you're trying to prevent.
Yep.
This should just be called Filled with Random Nuggets because we're just giving you all sorts of random information in this podcast. But it's gorgeous. So when are you supposed to have it done? When is the kind of sort of release date for it?
I don't know a release date yet. I believe it's the week of the 20th. I need to look at what dates do.
So maybe a December release, early December release.
Maybe a December release.
Late
November.
Early December maybe, somewhere around in there.
But
cool.
Yeah. I know it's going to be one that I will love to wear because it's just delightful now that I'm starting to get some of the fabric actually coming together. And I am just obsessed with Life in the Long Grass.
It's such a good color.
It's so
I mean, brand, yarn, the whole shebang.
Yeah. And this one has like, it's nice and beigey and neutral, but there's little pops. The little pops of like very vibrant pink speckles or yellow speckles make me happy.
Yes. Okay.
First, I thought that was a sock you just pulled out. I was like, wait, you cast on a sock?
No.
Did not.
Although, yes, I can see where you might think that. This is a sweater. An adult sweater. Hi. So, actually, it looks like this. But yes, this is an adult sweater. And no, I'm not that skinny. So, the look on your face, that was funny.
I was just like, yeah, no.
So this is the start of Viburna, which is in the Lina magazine, the issue 12. So this is knit side to side. So this is a sleeve. It's a really unique construction. So it's knit basically sleeve across, then you do body across, bind off-ish, sleeve across. And it's actually, it will end up getting folded because you leave this obnoxiously long tail to seam it up. So I have a little baby.
The texture in that is so good.
Yes. So this is a completely textured all over sweater. I'm loving it. I really am. This is definitely going to be a cross between a mindless knit slash, we'll still have to look at directions, simply because, I mean, the stitch patterns themselves are easy enough to memorize. You can see they recommend quite a few markers for marking where you increase, and then the different text. So like you have one kind of texture here, you stop, you do a different kind of texture, you stop, you do a different kind of texture, stop, different texture, stop. So you have all these different things. I'm not like racing on this one. This is just going to be a slow and steady. I get it done when I get it done. This is one of those projects that I'm in it for the finished object because I love the look of this sweater. So look it up if you haven't seen it. It's Viburna. I'm so sorry, I cannot remember the name of the gal who did it, and I don't have my Lina book with me, but Becky's going to fix that. I am using Sunday by Sandysgarn in the colorway Burnt Sugar, which is almost identical to what she used in the original Viburna. Yeah. Fabienne Gassmann. Yeah, let's pull up. Yes. Just look at that. It's so pretty.
So good.
So pretty. And if you pull it up like on your computer on Ravelry or whatever, you can zoom in and you see these squares of texture. So it's very textural, but it's very modern and architectural. So you have these little color block squares of all these different textures. I'm just loving it. So like I said, Sunday by Sandysgarn. This is a fingering weight yarn. And this was kind of my reward for finishing Shawlography, was to cast this on. So I haven't done a ton of progress on that one, but I have done that. But then I also was like, I finished Shawlography. Let me cast on something else, because I was like, I need a mindless project, and I don't have a mindless project at the moment. And now that it's dark so freakishly early, I need something that's not black or dark navy, because I have 2 other projects, or dark burgundy, 3 other projects in my whip basket that I want to work on, but I really can't work on them at home, because by the time I get home, it's dark. And then I fix dinner, and then Josh turns out all the lights in the house from mood lighting to watch TV. So I knit in the dark. So having a light colored thing to work on is fantastic. So I cast on L'Espace. I have to say that with my French accent. That is terrible. Yes, everyone that is French just cringed. So this is L'Espace by Melissa at Espace Tricot, I guess formerly of Espace Tricot, because she and Lisa did sell it to Sasha and Stephanie and Nicole? No, Stephanie and, oh gosh, Stephanie Earp and somebody. I think it begins with an N. Anywho, new owners of Espace Tricot, super sweet, they're amazing. That has literally nothing to do with this. This is a free pattern from Espace Tricot written by Melissa. That's what I meant to say. But this is a really cool one, because you cast on in a contrast color, and then you knit. So there's short rows, there's the front, it's all jammed up. I need to get a longer needle. And then it's a circular yoke. And then I'll split for sleeves and knit a portion, and then the bottom half of the cuff and the bottom like third of the sweater is back in that contrast color. So it's color blocked, and it's really, really cool vibe. Love it. So the yarn they originally used is one that it's really hard to find anywhere. It's a DK weight, but it's like a blown kind of yarn, so it's very lofty, and so they recommended actually going with like a sport weight or fingering weight to get the gauge. I tried a fingering weight and it was too airy for me. I still wanted something that was fairly, I hate to say that, use the word dense, but I wanted it to not be see-through. Yeah. Basically. And so I picked Sunday, or Double Sunday, excuse me, Double Sunday by Sanda's Garn. And I'm loving it. So I steamed out this top part, and it's just super soft. The stitch and drape is perfect. It's not too thick and bulky at all, but it's gorgeous. So this is the colorway Whipped Cream, which is basically almost white. And then my contrast color is actually not black. This is Sailor in the Dark. This is an extreme, almost navy color. But it's navy that's almost black is really what it is. But it is Sailor in the Dark with Whipped Cream. We have most colors available in Double Sunday should you want to cast this on as well. Or, like I said, Arbor would be a great option for this. Oh, yeah. Scout would be a great option for this. Apple would be a great option. Estate DK would be a good option. And if you did want it lighter, because I did recommend a sport weight, I didn't do any sort of swatch with a sport weight, but our Andorra
would be beautiful.
It would. And I came close, because they do have like a white in Andorra. I think they call it Snow or something like that. And then there's a charcoal gray. Yeah. If the charcoal gray had been a bit darker, I might have gone with that. But that would be nice. You could also use the Baby Alpaca from Blue Sky. That's a beautiful sport weight too.
Be so soft.
Oh, it would be just dangerously soft is what it would be.
Yeah.
You could also, if you want to play around with gauge and a la Espace Tricot, hold a strand of mohair with a fingering weight, that would be gorgeous. I've done that for several of their patterns that called for a sport or a light DK, and it turns out fabulous. You could do, for kind of more a blend of a rustic and not, you could do Biche and Bouche Petite La Petite, and then the Petite Mohair. That would be gorgeous.
So pretty.
Or any of our fingering weights with a mohair
yeah.
would be gorgeous as well. So that's all I have to share as far as whips. That's a bunch. Oh, a few, I'll say, housekeeping type things. We are open on Monday. So you can come into the store on Monday, or if you have questions, you can email or call and you will get an answer. Answered by me. We have also, you can see it up there, we have restocked 52 weeks of socks. Yes. I was like, which one was it? And I have a couple of 52 weeks of shawls. However, that book is not available to reorder. So when they are gone at this moment in time. We still have a few copies of the back issues of Lina magazine, and the pre-orders should open today. So by the time this goes up, you should be able to pre-order the next issue of Lina magazine. We also have several other pre-orders for books live on the website. We have, of course, Pom Pom magazine got released today. We have pre-orders for Stephen West's Hiberknitting Book 2. I still have Book 1, Hiberknitting Book 1 available. A few copies left, and actually I think a couple of them are signed by Stephen, so you may get that as a bonus. Oh, why don't you show our mug of yarn?
Oh, yes.
That we showed at the beginning. So these are limited edition mugs from Red Stag Fiber. They have, so this is kind of in lieu of an advent. You do gonna get a sneak peek. There are 5 mini skeins in here, and they are a mix of tweed or not tweed. There is no choice. They're just, it's a random mix. 5 of their most popular colors, but in a more variegated form, which is really cool and perfect to do a little cowl to add to socks or to make a pair of socks with, because you're basically getting a 20-gram skein, so you're getting a full skein's worth of yarn. Perfect to do a little striped shawlette, and then of course you get the fun Red Stag Fiber mug as well. So these are on the website for $54. When they are gone for good. This was just a fall winter release. So yeah, grab those. We are very limited. I want to say we have like maybe a dozen left. So grab them before they're gone. We are also getting in a lot of our, what I call Christmas holiday gift sort of items in the shop. We have our wax and wool candles fully stocked up, and our Christmas scents should be on their way very shortly. They got a little held up. We also have a lot of notions. I'm still waiting for more CocoKnits makers boards. We are on the list. It's just, they're so popular. They're flying out everywhere. But most everything else from CocoKnits we have restocked. We also have notions from Flower Fine Notes, and they have cute little tins and little packets of stitch markers and everything. Great little stocking stuffers, or, you know, add a little gift, maybe add a little, like, okay. Another nugget of knowledge here. You all are knitters or crocheters or crafters, so you don't really need to be told this, but if you're giving a gift card, or let's just say you want to give a gift to another crafty friend, but we all know we kind of like picking out our own yarn. Maybe you don't want to pick out a yarn because you're like, well, I don't know if she wants to do DK or great idea if you want to mix like a gift card. So get a gift card for $25, $30, something like that. You can get a skein of yarn for that, and then add a little packet of stitch markers or one of the little notions tins.
Yep.
It keeps your gift under $50, but it shows you a little bit of customization, you know, like you picked out something for them, but they still get to pick the kind of yarn that they want.
Yeah.
Or you can give that idea to your significant other, whomever might be buying you a gift. Self-giving. I mean, I have to say, who doesn't like opening their wallet and finding, I have a gift card I forgot about? You can give yourself a gift card. I mean, it's not impossible, especially if you like, you know, you want to get yourself, you have a little extra fun money and you know you want it to spend it here, but you don't have a project in mind yet. Just put it on a gift card. Then you can use it anytime. Fun fact. Needles, notions, like I said, all sorts of stuff. We are gearing up for Black Friday. We will have some fun Black Friday specials, and stay tuned for that. Black Friday, Cyber Monday if you're not local. And yes, then we launch full on into the holiday season. By the time this goes up, it should be, what, 43 days till Christmas, which is kind of freaking me out.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
No. Yeah, so cue the panic.
For real.
In that case, oh crap. Hi, we should be open. We should have opened 5 minutes ago. So we're gonna wrap this up real quick. Bye, and see you next time. Have a great day, guys.